Hello, this is Coach Anthony Williams, and welcome to the Connected Athletics Spotlight Podcast powered by Buffalo Wild Wings. Thank you for this new episode. We've got another great student athlete from just south of me and here in Austin, down at Steele HS. He's one of the top defensive players in the San Antonio area and probably in the state. I'm going to let him introduce himself here in a second, but I want to once again thank Buffalo Wild Wings for allowing us to have this platform to put student athletes on blast, to let these people know that they're more than just who they see on Friday nights. Jacob King is a great student. He's a great athlete. He's great in his community. He's a great son and brother, and we're going to learn more about him. So all you college coaches that are looking for a productive defensive player, you'll want to tune into this podcast. So let's get started. I'm excited to talk to Jacob King. Jacob is a class of 24 D lineman from Steele HS, but I want him to introduce himself because we want to hear from him and less from me. So Jacob, why don't you start us out with telling us your name, your school, your grad year, your position, and we'll go from there.
Yes, sir. I'm Jacob King. I play defensive line. I also play a little bit of linebacker. The class of 2024. I go to Brian B. Steele High School. Got a great program. Everything's going great. I mean, everything's great going so far.
Good. I love hearing it. So tell us, let's jump right in here, Jacob. I've been following you on Twitter and been watching your huddle video. Social media has such an impact in recruiting and just our day-to-day lives. Tell us how you, as a student athlete in high school, how does social media impact your journey as a student athlete?
It helps so much. So there's only so much as I can do to go outside of state and go see other coaches. And like Twitter, that format, it helps me get out there to other coaches outside of the state of Texas, like UPenn and all those Ivy League schools that are texting me. And they're all hitting me up on Twitter and all this stuff. And that helps. That stuff helps so much. And it's like, yeah, you might not be getting any love from schools in Texas, but you go and you get like some schools from out of state start texting you. And it's just great to know that you have that social media to rely on to get stuff from outside of the state, which I can't, like some camps I can't go to, which are out of state.
So as a former college coach, I've learned a lot about you just in that one answer. Number one, you've talked about the kind of schools that you've been interested in, Penn, Ivy League. So now I got to ask you, what is your GPA, and are those kind of schools you're looking for?
I mean, I wouldn't mind going to an Ivy League school, but it just depends like what my path. My goal is to go down a nurse practitioner and get my nursing license and all that.
Nice. And
that's my goal. And you know what they say student athlete. So I have a 3.5 right now. I'm trying to get it up, and I'm working as hard as I can to get my grades up and everything like that. Trying to get it up. 3.5 is pretty good, but I feel like I could do a lot more better than it is.
No, that's a great assessment. Very honest. I appreciate that. As we're talking about academics, your GPA, student athletes, as you mentioned already, you're a student and then you're an athlete. How do you balance academics, practice, playing, film study, studying the playbook, personal time with your family, maybe your boys, a girlfriend? How do you balance that as a student athlete?
Yes. So my way is God, right? Always put God. I'm going to have God with me everywhere I go. And then I'm going to have, again, back to that, relies on the student athlete. And my coaches know that your grades are going to be more important because your grades are going to set you up for life. You can only play football for so long, right? Mm-hmm. And education-wise, you just need to, if you focus on that more than football, the football part, you got to put that work in football. But, that education part is always going to be a big part of your life. You only probably play, football 10 years, and then, you got to rely on what you came out of college with to, move on. You can't play football forever.
Yeah, no, that's a great insight from somebody so young. Football will come to an end one day, and what you've done while you're doing it should set you up for the next part of your life after football. So you're very smart and very mature for your age to already understand that, because I love the game. You love the game. It's been very good to me. It's helped me get my education and my master's, but eventually it comes to an end one day. So you are ahead of the game right now. I know we were just talking a little bit about how I hardly ever miss the great rivalry game here in the state of Texas between Judson and Steele. Tell us, every student athlete loves playing in front of a large crowd, cheering you on and bringing that intensity. But some athletes understand the importance of giving back to that crowd, to the fans that come out and watch them. Jacob, tell us a little bit about what you do to give back to the Steele community when you're not at school and you're not playing football on a Friday night.
Yes, sir. So actually, just the past night, I was at a trunk or treat for churches. I mean, my big thing is giving back to that community. You know, like those little kids I used to like look up to. Like when I was little playing for the Tri-County Titans, I always dreamed about playing at Brian B. Steele High School. That was my dream. And at the time, I played running back, but not at the time anymore. I don't play any running back. I'm getting to running back now, but it's all good. I mean, but me being that little kid and then looking up to these field players, like I mean, like we go to the schools and we like do all this stuff for like the little kids. I mean, like I don't know if they did it back then because I wasn't really like paying attention at the time in elementary school. I didn't know what was really going on. But I mean, those coaches, I mean, are so great at getting us out there. I mean, like, I also like put time in. Like, my big thing is like the elderly too. I mean, I have probably most people every time I go to my mom's work, I have about like easily probably about 45 people come up to me and ask, "Who'd y'all play on Friday? How'd you do? What schools are talking to you?" And I mean, showing the love and me going out and helping the elderly. I mean, I'm out there again. They have like these events going. I'm always out there helping them, no matter what it is.
That's great. That's a way to give back to the elderly and to the ones behind you. You know, Jacob, is very big statement by you there because you never know who's watching. There could be some fifth grader who's like, you know what? I want to be like Jacob King when I get to steal it and play D tackle and play a little linebacker. So you never know who you're watching, which is why we always should have a positive influence. And it sounds like you definitely get that. As you heard me when we started the podcast, Buffalo Wild Wings is our sponsor. And I don't know if you've ever been to Buffalo Wild Wings, but they are known for their wings and they're known for their many sauces.
Yes,
I sent you the number of the list of sauces. Which Buffalo Wild Wing sauce best describes you as a player?
I would say definitely sweet and sour because I'm definitely not the person. I mean, the person off the field is a lot more kinder than the person on the field. That's what I think. And it's just a lot more nicer. You know, I'm not. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like sweet and sour is definitely my choice on that one.
Yeah, sweet and sour makes sense, and people understand. I mean, you could be a great person off the field, but once you cross the white line, especially when you play defense,
yes, sir,
you got to flip a switch and you got to kind of play a little nastiness. So I know exactly, as a former linebacker, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's a great choice. You know, I know you have goals as an individual defensive player on the Steel team. How do you balance your individual goals, tackles for loss, fumbles, with your team goals of trying to get deep in the playoffs? How do you balance that as a student athlete?
My thing is I used to play linebacker freshman year, and my thing is when my team needed me, I stepped in, and that's the big thing is when there's a spot open, you got to take that chance, and there's that spot open to play defensive tackle. And I feel like I had to step in. I mean, I had to help my team. I might not get that many tackles because I might be playing defensive line, but as long as I know I'm helping my team, I mean, I know there's bound to be a coach out there that can look at me and feel like, okay, this kid has some actually talent. We just got to put him in the right spot. That's my opinion on that one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As a former linebacker myself, I understand. Without the D lineman in front of me, I would have no success. Those guys who don't get a lot of stats, they're the ones that make linebackers great. And if you can get a couple of tackles for loss, a couple of sacks, it's why you get recruited. There's not a college coach that I talk to, and I talk to him on a daily basis, Jacob, that isn't always looking for a productive D lineman. Always. Everything looking for D tackle or D end. Are you an edge rusher or are you guys that can take up a space the linebackers move? So you absolutely get the position. It may not be a big stat position, but critical to being a successful defense. So kudos to you on that. Let's talk a little bit about down in the Cibola community. You guys have a lot of different races, and I'm sure in the team. One thing I loved about football, Jacob, was I got to meet and really get to know, and these guys who had different backgrounds and different races and different religions, I got a chance to know them personally because they were teammates. They were my brothers. Tell us about your experience and how being on that team has allowed you to meet people from with a different background, and yet you guys kind of merge together with one single common goal on Friday nights.
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, the thing I look at is I'm always nice. My teammates, how I talk to kids at school that are not in athletics is different. My teammates, my football teammates, you never know what people are going through in life, and that's my thing. That's if it's family problems, anybody anything kids that don't play in football or anything. I mean, that's like a brotherhood right there. I mean, nobody comes between you and your brother on that football field, not even the other opponent. But from just the point of view, I mean, you always if someone needs help. I mean, on my football team, I'm always there, and that's my opinion on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it makes sense completely. I know there's a lot of D linemen and a lot of edge rushers and linebackers that you probably like, but pick a couple, either in college or pro. Who do you compare yourself to, and who do you want your game to pattern off of?
I think I compare myself more to Aiden Hutchinson, the defensive end for the Lions.
Yeah,
I'm not a Lions fan. Don't take me on that. I'm a diehard
no,
Eagles fan, but
right.
nah. But Aiden Hutchinson, I think he has that motor like I do. That just even when the ball's like on the other side of the field, you're chasing it down that 40 yards to get it.
Yeah, no, that's a great comparison. He's a playmaker. Whether you like the Lions a lot, you got to respect his game. He's in that same discussion as the Chase Youngs and the other
Mm-hmm.
great DNs in the NFL. So I know that I'm watching your video. You definitely have you mentioned the key word. Coaches love D linemen with a motor that always runs hot, and you definitely show that. That's a great comparison. One other thing, couple questions we finish up here. There are different types of players in pregame. There are those that like to get amped and get hyped, and then there are those that like to be quiet in the corner, just kind of going over the plays and what they're going to do in their game. Which player are you? How do you prepare for in pregame?
I like to get hyped. I calm down and like before when we're at school, I'm calm. When we get dressed, we're calm. But as soon as we get that stadium, my headphones go on. Meek Mill comes on. It's just a different mode. It's just a whole different mode.
I like it. Do you ever feel like
Yes,
there's a
sir.
time where you need to kind of take a step back, like, okay, hey, I'm hyped now, but I got to focus on my responsibilities. I'm going to take on double teams, and I'm going to make my linebackers make plays. I'm going to give me some sacks. I mean, how do you balance that getting hyped, but not getting too hyped that you forget about your responsibilities to your defense?
I think a big part of that is as soon as the national. I mean, I might be hyped coming out, but as soon as that national anthem's done, they're walking off the field. It's just locked in, knowing what's my job. What at the time? What are we going to run on the first play? First thing is I go up to the coach. What formation are we going out on? What are we going to be running? Any blitz calls? Are we going to be doing anything? Or are we just going to be staying in the 4-3 and seeing what we're going to exactly do to read what their offense is going to do on the first drive before we go out there and make sure they don't get in that end zone.
Jacob, you've got a great attitude. As we finish with this question, I'm really looking forward to hearing your answer here. But you seem to really enjoy. I love the game of football. I love playing it. I love coaching. I love what I do now. Tell us as an audience, what do you enjoy most about playing football?
I have a couple ways. I mean, I got my brothers that are on they are my family. They are literally my second family. I call Brian B. Steele High School my second house because I'm always there. There's not a time I'm not there. And that's my family. I mean, those are like for real, like my brothers. And I mean, I might make plays and there, and I'm honored to like make it, but like I wouldn't be here on this stuff if it wasn't for my coaches, my teammates, and my teammates putting me in the right position. Me is working hard and getting to them and then helping them out and everything like that.
Yeah, I like it. Hey, last question. I'm going to let you go. I'm sure you have homework. I'm going to get some rest or get some dinner tonight. But last question here. Tell us, obviously, in any student athlete's journey, there are people who have helped them along the way. Coaches, teachers, counselors, maybe an AP, maybe your family member. Shout out some of the people who help you get to where you are today. That without them, you'd be like, man, I don't know where I'd be without this person, whether it's, like I said, a teacher or a coach. Who are the people you want to shout out for helping you get to where you are today?
I want to shout out my mom, my dad, coach Schmitty. I mean, they've all had my back, and I mean, even when I'm down, like let's say I had have a bad game. I mean, they've always been there. Even when I feel like I had a bad game, my dad's always been there for me, and he's always there as my confidence boost at the end of the game. And he knows how much pressure is on and getting double teamed and stuff like that. And then coming after that, and then film and Coach Schmitty always helping me through King. There's nothing. You're doing your best as you can for taking on that double team. You're helping us become a better program and helping our linebackers by keeping those offensive linemen off of them.
Yeah, awesome. Great job. Hey, lastly here, as you know, as I mentioned earlier, Buffalo Wild Wings is sponsored, not only supporting this podcast, but everybody from the Cibola community that goes into the local Buffalo Wild Wings and mentions the school name, 10% of their bill goes back to the Football Booster Club. Take a second to shout out Buffalo Wild Wings and what they're doing to support the Steel Knights and that solid program there.
No, most definitely. Thank you, Buffalo Wild Wings, so much for doing this. I mean, we're blessed. And anybody at Brian B. Steele High School, go get yourself some Buffalo Wild Wings while you're there.
And what kind of sauce should they use, Jacob?
Sweet and sour. Get that sweet and sour on it. Let's go.
Jacob, man, I love your energy. I love your attitude, man. I look forward to seeing you play the rest of the year. If you need anything, reach out to me. We're going to do some post-production and get this out here pretty soon. But good luck against a really important game in district this week against Judson. And I'll see you down there pretty soon on the sidelines, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Jacob. Have a great night.
You too.